Coming up on show 578, the Honda E gets pricing, Tesla expands their Fremont facility, and the Seat Me is a cheap EV. Well, those stories and many more coming up on today's show. Morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you're listening around the world, welcome to what happened on Friday 13th of September. In the world of EVs, my name is Martyn Lee, going through every story I can find and saving you time and editing it down to ones that you really need to know about. Thank you to myev.com for helping me make this show. As always, thank you to myev and the team there. They are building the world's first marketplace, all about buying and selling and learning about EVs. If you're a dealer, there's a new section. If you've used myev, I'd love to hear your experience stories, and I can pass them on. Just email me, hello@evnewsdaily.com. So Tesla's applied for a permit from the city home to its lone assembly plant that hints that the EV maker could be planning another assembly line, says Bloomberg. Well, the application is to the city of Fremont, California, and it describes the project as seeking a permit for, well, let me clarify. The original permit said they were seeking permission for GA5 demo and rough grading. GA5, General Assembly 5. When you talk about GA with car assembly, that means General Assembly. So, there's the, obviously, 3 is made at Fremont, and Elon Musk has previously said that they've been running several lines to make the 3. Oh, and the S and the X, of course. Space is tight at Fremont. Workers already make the Model 3 on an assembly line underneath what you can either call the tent or you can call it the sprung structure or the semi-permanent structure. So this permit went in and Bloomberg picked it up. The EV Press have just reported on it, and it was for GA5 demo and rough grading, whatever that is. It sounds like getting ready for something to me, anyway. But then it was quickly changed on the city website, the documents. If you go to the online source where the application was made, they've now changed it. It makes no reference to General Assembly 5. Is that because when it hit the press, Tesla got onto them and said, look, can you just change the wording? Or was it a mistake in the first place? We don't know that at the moment. And also, what could General Assembly 5 demo be? It could just be a few things they're putting in place for the Model Y. But equally, it could be Model 3. Equally, it could be that they have made some efficiencies to other lines and they are now ready for a bit of a switcheroo round to make the plant more efficient. It could be that they're making some changes to S and the X lines as well. We just don't know. It was not widely reported, but some reported it as, well, they're getting ready for Model Y. And that is one possible answer to what this application is, but it is certainly not confirmed. There's lots of things that it could be at Fremont, and it doesn't necessarily mean, because it's very early. Very early for Model Y production, but not inconceivably early for the very first stages of the Model Y production line, given that it shares most of its parts with Model 3, and that you would presume, and I'm no expert in these things, that actually assembly would share many, many of the processes and systems that the Model 3 General Assembly line takes. Watch this space. We'll see what happens with that. Let's talk Honda. And Honda has released the first official images of its new Honda E electric vehicle ahead of a launch unveiled for the first time during the IAA show, the Frankfurt Motor Show. According to the website Design Boom, and of course, I'm not surprised that a website like that would pick up on a car like this. It is not style over substance. That's a harsh criticism. I don't mean it to come out like that, but of course, the Honda E is a car which is certainly very stylish and not packed with the best drivetrain technology. But inside the cabin, you're spoilt for choice. There are two 12.3-inch LCD touchscreens. They form the center infotainment display. And I presume some of that is for functions which are duplicated, because the screen even goes all the way over to the passenger side. So surely nothing that the driver would want to touch could be on the passenger side. I mean, you'd literally have to take your seatbelt off and lean all the way over. So I've watched some videos today to try and work out how those touchscreens work, but surely that must be for the passenger to do infotainment-y stuff. Behind the steering wheel, the driver gets an 8.8-inch screen for the instrument cluster. There's a personal assistant as well. You know what I feel about these in cars. They just don't work very well, but if you say, OK, Honda, it'll do something. They're nowhere near as good, in my experience, nowhere near as good as things like your Amazon and Google devices. Honda owners can also use the new smartphone application. It's got charge point navigation. It's got climate control. You can precondition the vehicle. There's 2 specs of it as well. There's 134 horsepower spec starting at £26,000 or €29,000, and a more powerful version starting at £28,500 or €32,000. That is, of course, taking into account all of the incentives here in the UK. If you want to, you can register your interest to... This isn't a deposit scheme, but you can register your interest in the UK, Germany, France and Norway. And in other markets, you need to contact Honda. It's shipping summer 2020. And like I say, hasn't got the most miles. 132 rings a bell. I haven't written it down in my show notes, but I imagine it's going to do more like 140, 145 in real world. I think they're playing this one down. But why wait to be proven wrong on this? It could well do. I think anything less than 150 miles these days, a bit of a mental block for some people. Probably me including, actually. Let's move on and let's talk Tesla. Now installing... Well, I don't know if this is widespread, but they have installed some Hardware 3 to a customer's car that previously had older technology. The first confirmed upgrade for full self-driving hardware is what's called Hardware version 3. It took place after a customer, and actually someone who I follow on Twitter, which is funny, he took his 2018 Model S P100DL into the Santa Barbara service centre. It was for a routine filter change, the HEPA cabin filter. After the service, he noticed, his name is Sofian, and he noticed that on the service documents, it had a line about hardware. New hardware had been installed, as well as the filter that he booked it in for. Hardware version 3 was upgraded, and at the minute, it's being offered to Model S and Model X owners who have paid already for the full self-driving suite. The Hardware 3 can't be requested if you are an owner waiting for it. It can only be installed by those who are trained to put it in and eligible vehicles, as you can imagine. And if your vehicle qualifies, you might not even get Hardware version 3 if you take yours in for something else, though I can imagine there is suddenly a rush of people booking their car in for HEPA filter changes at the Santa Barbara store in the hope that they get Hardware version 3. And from self-driving to fast driving, first up an article from Road and Track website. To set a time at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, you need to rent the track out privately. Now, we know that up until now, Tesla didn't have that organised. We're now hearing, they say, that Tesla has organised some private track time. A source on the ground has informed Road and Track that a time could be set next week. The Nürburgring has issued a schedule change for the 21st of September. There's now a 30-minute private window carved out for a session that already had public laps and ring taxi laps on the calendar, but that's now been cleared for Tesla. The possibility of lap timing in a session on the 18th exists, though it doesn't sound like that session would be private, but you really want the track to yourself. You don't want traffic if you're going for a Nürburgring time. Carving out that time from a session that was previously booked and was guaranteed to make the track money is going to be an expensive proposition for Tesla, but I imagine they would certainly have got the checkbook out and paid what was required. From Inside EVs, according to their spy photographers, they've spied Tesla at a private test facility very close, adjacent to the Nürburgring, and they've been prepping a Model S for a run at the lap record. The Model S Tesla has flared wheel arches. Of course, if you're going to put wider tyres on, there is regulations on having... You can't have the tyre stick out further than the side of the bodywork of the car, so they've flared the wheel arches, more aggressive wheels and tyres, a new spoiler on the back. YouTube videos subsequently showed people... that people had filmed at the Nürburgring of this car driving around doing test laps. And that is a big spoiler that they've put on the back as well, on the back of the boot. From what we heard, the tyres are Michelin Cup 2Rs, some of the most grippiest tyres you can get, and a roll cage has been installed inside the car, and the lower grille opening is bigger for better cooling. If you zoom in on the shots of the rear, the badge has been changed, and this is a lovely bit of attention to detail. It's now called the P100D+, which is interesting because, of course, these days it is standard range and long range. There's no P100Ds leaving the factory anymore. In the comments from someone called Eric W on Inside EVs, if you look at pictures 7 and 12 of the slideshow showing the back of the car with P100D Plus on it, Plus is what they used to use going way back in the day on the original P85 and the P85 Plus. That would say there was some track enhanced features. Like the article says, the P100D Plus added to the ordering studio makes it all the more legit. If it beats the Taycan, could they charge for it? Could they have, say, £140,000 worth of Model S on the market with a big spoiler, bigger tyres, and they call it the P100D Plus, like the track version? You've got to wonder. I'll put links to all those articles in the show notes if you want to read more. But talking about track limits, do you even care? Track record, by the way. Do you care? Does it make any difference? It doesn't really to me. I understand why, because Porsche have gone big on setting lap records at the Nürburgring in an EV. It wasn't in a Taycan Turbo or Turbo S. It was, as many car makers would do, custom designed for the track. So again, it's not a spec, but they could easily add that spec to the online configurator and then make it legit, make it a production car. Does it make any difference? Not really. There's a lot of willy waving in the gym changing rooms about the whole thing. However, I kind of understand it. It doesn't appeal to me personally, but I can stand in someone else's shoes and go, you know what, if I was Elon Musk, I would be like, no, let's send the car around the track, because especially as we know that one of the Model S's just broke a different record. This time we're talking Laguna Seca. Following the recent launch of the Porsche Taycan, Elon is on a bit of a mission to show that all Tesla vehicles have high performance. While they couldn't get things done in Germany just yet, though it is on the cards, according to Electrek, Tesla tried for its own record at home at Laguna Seca, and Elon Musk said they broke the fastest lap record for a four-door saloon. Laguna Seca has become a proving ground for EVs in recent years, and last year the record for the fastest production EV actually changed hands several times. Now, from fast cars to small city cars, it takes all sorts, different strokes, and actually for many people, a small city car is exactly what is required. Maybe even in a two-car household, but not necessarily. At the Frankfurt Motor Show, Seat announced the price of the Mi, M-I-I, the Mi EV. They've updated it. It's one of the VW triplets. Now, according to Push EVs, Pedro says that the VW triplets are the first electric cars that are that small with 260 kilometres of range that are affordable. The first EV model is €145 a month with no down payment at all, and that is to lease it for 36 months. And they are the Seat Mi, the Skoda, or Skoda even, because it's Czech, if I say it properly. It's the Citigo e-iV and the Volkswagen e-Up. They've all been updated, but it is the Seat which is cheapest. Seat is €20,650 before subsidies. The Skoda is €20,950 before subsidies. The Volkswagen e-Up is €21,975 before subsidies. All the same car. So if I read you the specs from the e-Up, it'll be the same for all three of them. No major styling changes. Looks like an ICE car. It's a piston car, basically, with an EV powertrain. The dials are analog. It uses the old car dials. No digital display. Has a handbrake. Has a pull handbrake. It has a gear shifter where a manual gear shifter would be on the piston car. So very much a ICE car conversion to EV. But it's got a larger battery. The old one was pretty tiddly, 18.7 kilowatt hours. New one makes a lot of sense, 32.3 kilowatt hours. So from 18 and a bit to 32 and a bit is a big increase. 161 miles on full charge. The last car would do less than 100, and you can charge at 40 kilowatts. So rapid charging is, you could call rapid charging 50 and above, but actually 40 is okay. So it's got an 82 brake horsepower electric motor. 0 to 60 is respectable, under 12 seconds, top speed of 81 miles an hour. And if you fancy a little city car, the Seat, the Skoda, the Volkswagen e-Up, all very great little school run cars. Get your errands done in that, especially, like I say, if you have a second EV in the household. Let's talk Tesla's referral program as the final story that we're talking about today. And it's something that has come and gone, and now it's back again. The referral program has been really effective for Tesla over the years to promote car sales, even to the point of those YouTubers out there winning Tesla Roadsters. In fact, I say Roadsters plural because there are people like Tesla Bjorn Nyland and Ryan McCaffrey of Ride the Lightning. I think they won 2. They had so many referrals. They won 2 Roadsters. And aren't the Roadsters worth $250,000 each? So just from their listeners and viewers using their referral code to buy their Tesla, they've won like $500,000 worth of free cars, which kind of blows my mind. And that's probably why Tesla changed it, because they were giving away a lot of free cars. So it's now just free miles that you get by using a referral code to order your new Tesla, get some free supercharging. That was 1,000 miles of free supercharging until today, and now it's 2,000 miles for any car that you order on or after September 10th, but you must be delivered by October 1st to count in the deliveries for the quarter that we are in. Unlike previous referral bonuses, writes Clean Technica, which required the car to be ordered by the deadline, now you've got to have it. So maybe that favours cars they have in inventory, because we know that Tesla make cars in batches, in common configurations. I mean, there aren't that many configurations, but in common ones, and not as much as other car makers, but they do now have some stock. They now have inventory. Never used to back in the day when they were a smaller car maker, but they do now. And if you contact them and say, I'd like this car, and you are in luck, well, you can probably pick it up, certainly if you're in California and some parts of the world, later that day. Those stories are out there. Maybe not common, but those stories are out there. So even if you custom ordered a car, you could well be lucky and get it by October 1st and get your 2,000 miles of supercharging. Brilliant news, Tesla, for anybody considering. Righty-ho, let's do question of the week then, set by Jill Newell. What is your EV light bulb moment? Please tell me, and it will get read out on Sunday's show. Email hello@evnewsdaily.com. Leave a comment on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you to 251 patrons of the podcast, whose generosity blows me away every single time I do this show. Thank you. Phil Roberts of Electric Future, loving his Model 3 at the moment. Brad Crosby, an early supporter. And Avid Technology, our recent premium partner. Thank you very much to everyone who supports this show, including those that don't want me to say their name out loud. There are a few, and I respect that. Thank you very much. You know who you are. 578 previous shows online that you can get in the archive, and the new ones come first and free and automatically if you are a podcast subscriber. And it's a free subscription, and we all love free stuff. If you want to say hi on the socials, use the phrase EV News Daily. You'll find me. Have a wonderful day. Catch you tomorrow. Remember, there's no such thing as a self-charging hybrid.